Hello liebe Leute. I'm joking, sorry guys. Hello guys, again, my name is Michael, and finally today we are going to move on to a new widget. This is a very important part which you need to take care. This widget is called GTK-Grid. It is a container because if you remember, like I think I already told you in my first tutorials, I think I mentioned. If not, I'm sorry guys, it's time now. When you create a window, like here we created a window 400. If you want to have more widgets inside this window, well, it's not working. Let me show you something. Let me create a GTK widget. Let me create a button. Let me create a button. GTK widget man widget button. Let's say button. Okay, and now we create a button, and we point our button, not button. Okay, GTK button new widget label. Let's say button 1. After we create it, we add this button to our window. So we need to cast the container first. GTK container window, just to be sure that you understand what I'm talking about. And then we are going to put our button here. After that, I will run the program the way it is. So we created a button and then we put it here. You see the button is here. Now watch. Let us create another button, a second one. I'm going to copy this part here, and I will say button 2 here, or button 1, sorry. Okay, and let's try to put the button 1 in the window now, so that we can have 2 buttons here. As you can see, we are getting here warning, which is an error, says attempting to add a widget with type GTK button to a GTK window, but as a GTK bin subclass, GTK window can only contain one widget at a time. It already contains a widget of type GTK button. As you can see, we cannot create a program where we can have more buttons. For this, I mean, at least we cannot create a program which we can have more buttons if we try to put these buttons inside of our window. For this, let me drop this part here because we don't need now. For this, there is something which is called a GTK grid. There are things like tables. There are also things like probably know GTK box and so on, fixed. Let's see about GTK grid. GTK grid, for example. So GTK grid, as you can see, we have here some things. There are no signals because we don't need. There are only properties, and properties are not very much too. We are going to talk about these properties too, but not now. Now we are going to talk about a little bit about its description. It says GTK grid is a container which arranges its child widget in a row and columns with arbitrary position and horizontal vertical spans. So I'm strongly suggested that to read this documentation, and of course if you didn't read it, or if you read it and you're not sure about it, no problem, because we are going to take care about these parts here. As you can see, our CSS nodes, there is only one node which is called grid, and that's it. And let me show you some programs which I already prepared here. The first one is GTK 0. You see here it is a program which looks like a table or something similar. As you can see, we have here 1 2 3 and 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this is a thing which you can create with a grid. Of course, you can create another thing like, for example, this one. As you can see here, they are expanding from top to bottom, as you can see, and there are also another like this one, which they are also expanding from top to bottom. Here we have 4 of them, and of course demonstrating program will look it will look like this. 4 is too much, I don't have 3. You see here we have GTK grid which we are using. Here some information like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries and a button which we use it. This is something when you create a registration form or something. I will just show you something important here and I will explain it right now. This means this program which I have here, it is very much information only, and I repeat, only with things which we already learned. This means here I will show you in a moment what I mean. Here there are only things which you already learned in the last tutorials, and it's nothing new here, so that you think that maybe I add some. No, we are not going to use things which we don't know in our program. We will learn them before we will use them. So let's see. Here we have a registration form. As you can see here, you cannot click. The submit button down is that because I set the sensitive to false. So this means just after you type here, you can type in the next section and so on. Let me show you. Let's say like, I don't know, John Doe. Now when I hit enter, watch, you see I'm hitting enter and the cursor is moving here, and now it's open. It's set username sensitive to true. Now I can type here something like I don't know, username. Next thing is the password, which as you can see, you cannot see what I'm typing because it's hidden, and of course its length, it's only 8 characters used. You already learned with me that. Now I hit enter again. Here it's a mail where you can type something like mail at mail.com. And now the last one is the phone. Here when I try to type something, it's not working because I need to work with numbers only, so a phone number has only numbers, so you cannot type letters here, which means we were restricting this part only to letters. And now when I hit the submit button here, as you can see, we have all the information which we created. It is here. Okay, I will post this information. I will put a link to this information in the comment section or in the description section of this video, so that you can take a look of it. We are not going to talk about this now because like I said, it's nothing there which you didn't already learn. So if you followed my tutorials, then probably and I'm sure that you understand everything which I did here. One thing I want to mention is that I use no comments. So this means I did it on purpose so that you notice for yourself every function which I use, which kind of function, so you don't need comments. If you need comments, this means you don't understand functions. If you don't understand those functions, this means you didn't follow my tutorial. So please be sure that you followed all my tutorial before you see this code here. Okay, so as you can see, the submit button has also a property here important. I hit the submit button and it doesn't print again and again the same story, because once that is submitted, then stays there. So this is also important for you to know that once that you hit the submit button and print your information here, the submit button doesn't print again and again and again. So this is also programmatically information which I took care about it. Okay, so that being said, let's move with our grid. So let's take our first function, which is a GTK-grid new. Okay, so GTK. Now before we do that, let us create CSS window, and here let's put the background color magenta. Okay, let me save it, let me run it. So it should be now the color there. Yeah, it's there. Okay, which is fine. Now let's move to the next part. Let's create our grid, GTK widget grid, because this is what we needed here. So GTK grid, GTK grid new. As you already noticed, this function returns a widget. so we point it to our grid widget and takes no parameters. That is very important for you. Okay, so now that we have it, let's add it. GTK container, GTK, I'm doing wrong. GTK container add, GTK container, we need to cast our window to a container one window, and then next one, it is our grid. Okay, we did it. Let's run the program to see what happens. Of course it will be nothing. You notice nothing's here. Now let's go back a little bit to our documentation, and documentation says about CSS, as you can see here somewhere. See, says CSS nodes of the grid use only a single CSS node, which is called grid. So this means we need only this node. So let's use it, grid, and then let's give it a color, background color, let's say red. Okay, I'm save it, and now I will run the program, and as you can see, here is our grid. I mean, at least here is our container, which is ready to attach or to have its childs the way you want to have them, and the way you think that they are needed for you to work with. Okay, so that being said, I think this is enough for today. It's enough for this tutorial. I will talk to you in the next tutorial about its childs, its position of childs, and so on. There are a lot of informations which we can use based on this function. As you can see here, we have a grid attached. This means when you attach a child to its grid, to this grid, is when you put a widget inside that container, and then next to, if you want, for example, to a very particular position where you want to use it, also it's this function. And then we have get child add, we have rows and columns if we want to create that kind of table which I was talking to about. And then we have a remove here, insert. Of course, we have the GtkGrid set homogeneous and row and column, so spacing things which we are going to, and so on. So basically, there are not so many functions. We don't need also too much functions, because you will see that there are things important, like for example, if you set this thing to your container, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So sometimes you don't need to use this. You need to use, so you set the property of the widget to homogeneous, or maybe to spacing, or expand, and so on. But we will learn these things in the upcoming tutorials. And about the properties also, we do not have too many, so that's a good thing to remember. Okay, so that being said, thank you guys for watching, and if you like it, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and until next time, see you guys.